What's up, guys, and welcome back. Today what we're going to talk about is this roof nest here. I just installed it a few weeks ago, so the cool part is I've been able to use it a few times now. I've gotten out with my wife, 2 Chihuahuas, and we kind of struggled with it in that fashion, but second time I got to use it, I was all by myself. I was up in Thunder Hill. It was pretty badass. But before we get too into what I think about this tent, we need to talk about this TUWApro rack. Now, if you've seen my previous video of actually installing this thing, you'll know that this basically is a universal kit, and this kit can go from 17 inches up to 20 inches. Now that's cool, except for the fact that for the Ford Maverick, it actually has a slight angle coming down on the bed. So what I did do for this thing is I lowered it about 2 inches. So every major hole in this rack is 2 inches. Basically from the 20, I'm down to an 18-inch now, which gave me the ability to have this thing a little bit lower to the truck. But we still had one problem. The way that the bed is angled, we still had a slight upward tilt in the tent itself. So I put these little brackets in here, these little spacers. It's only maybe a ½ inch, which kind of leveled it out now. And I went from what I was originally getting with the 20 inches and the tent at a slight angle, I was losing 8 to 10 miles per gallon. But since I've done this, I've been averaging anywhere from 4 to 6 miles per gallon lower than what I normally get out of the truck in daily commuting. So I figured that wasn't too bad. Now, the only way I feel that we could really solve this problem is some kind of airbag. And I think the more weight we put on this truck, obviously the more it's going to sag, the more we're going to start becoming a windsill with our tent, the worse fuel mileage we're going to get. So I think if we were to bag this thing and be able to cover it out, I think that would be probably the most ideal thing we could do. Other than that, let's get into this tent. So when these things came out, they were like $4,000 or something crazy. I just couldn't choke up the money to buy one, but I got this one, an actual roof nest, off of Amazon for $1,299. Now there was $300 in shipping, but that's still quite a bit less than I expected. I also ended up grabbing this 270 awning, which I thought was pretty cool. That was a good discount as well. I'll do another video on this because there's a lot of things that I really like about it, but there's also some major things that I don't like about it. The best part of this tent is definitely got to be the simple fact of such an easy setup. You literally just pop these 2 latches, push up, and it kind of like extends itself up. You have this little strap that you got to strap down on the sides. You've got these 2 metal pulls that you basically put inside the little extra awning that it has, the little rain guide here, which is pretty rad. I will say that one of the annoying parts for me was I wasn't installing it right the first few times, so I kind of bent these little brackets here. Once I started figuring it out right, it works quite well. You end up bending those poles way farther than I expected them to be bent, but it works out pretty good. So the inside of the tent here is actually quite spacious in my opinion. The fact that we have all of these like blackout stuff, it doesn't feel exactly like it's a tent. It feels very comfortable. It feels very much so that you're not sitting on the ground, which is actually kind of nice. The other things I thought that were really cool about it is the USB light bar, which runs up the right hand side of the tent, and you just simply plug in a USB and you could put it inside that little pouch over there, and it gives not just light in here, but it's very dim to the point where it's not blinding even when it's just completely pitch dark at night. I always carry multiple of these like USB charger things, but it's pretty simple. You just simply plug it in, hide that thing in the tent thing if you want, and then you get a bunch of extra light inside here. Now it's probably hard to see because it's so bright out here, but in addition to those lighting system, the Falcon 2 actually comes with this little setup here, which is freaking awesome. I could put the sleeping bag inside of each of these little pouches, cell phone with another charger to charge cell phones or whatever. And of course, before the end of the night, I like to just kind of watch a show or something, so you could just slap an iPad in there. I watched the races while I was at Thunder Hill last weekend, which was pretty rad. Just kind of hanging out towards the end of the night, enjoying a few races and watching the races. Okay, for the negatives, because there's always some negatives. The most and worst part about this tent is this mattress. It's absolutely terrible. I figure if you're a back sleeper, you might be kind of okay, but for me, I always sleep on my side, and I woke up multiple times, both times I've used this thing, and total pain in my hips, and that's just simply because I'm old. No. This thing's hard as hell, guys. It feels like you're sleeping on the ground. So 100% I need to do something about this mattress, whether it's getting some kind of blow up mattress that goes on top of it or under it that's easily inflated and deflated, or just simply buy a different mattress. So the last negative I have for this tent is kind of a positive and a negative. The first part about it is very low profile. When closed, that is a very low profile tent, which is badass. But the problem is, you can't leave a single thing in here. Blanket, your pillow, your sleeping bags, whatever, nothing can go in here. Or when you close it, you'll start popping everything out of the sides and it won't give a full seal. It'll start bowing out a little bit, which is kind of annoying, the fact that you really can't put anything in here. That's probably the other biggest negative. But as long as you know that when you buy this specific one and you have a plan for storage and stuff like that, in some upcoming videos, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to build storage for this rack and this kit so that I can have all the things I need, but yet easy access to everything, lockable, and of course easy to use and as light as possible. So that about wraps it up, guys. We already talked about we're going to do some storage for this thing. We already talked about another video that we're going to do for the awning and how I'm going to modify it to make it work a little bit better. And then of course we still got to work on the complete setup for the motorcycle. I have used the rack I'm going to do. It is a little rough on this little truck, but I think we're going to make it a little bit more durable, a little bit stronger, and put a little bit less weight on the truck. And when I get that done, I'll show you guys how it works, and I'll take you along with me on some of these rides, because for the most part, what we're doing is this build is intended for me to get to all the races for next season. So thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys next week.